We're all here to honor the rich heritage and contributions Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders have had in building this country, brick by brick. There have been generations of Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders that have contributed to industry, law, medicine, space, generations who have served in uniform to defend this country and given the ultimate sacrifice. Generations that have served a country that has welcomed the contributions of all, regardless of the color of their skin or their beliefs. It's an honor for me to be here today to talk about my path, about the story of immigration, the struggles of identity, and how diversity led me to where I am today, and the powerful role it plays in today's society. And my story is just a single brick of the foundation that all immigrants, not just Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders, have laid down to create a strong country we have today. I'm a first-generation Korean American, born and raised in Los Angeles. My parents were South Korean immigrants. My father, like a lot of South Korean immigrants, owned a liquor store, which he worked at 6 days a week. Growing up in the Asian American epicenter that is Los Angeles, I thought I knew what being Asian American was all about. But when I think about what it means to be Asian American, I have a hard time capturing that in a single sentence. Sure, I think of tradition, the holidays, the culture, and of course, the food. But one of the strongest thoughts that come to my mind when I think of my heritage is the sacrifices and struggles my parents and grandparents as immigrants went through so that I could be here today. My mother is a woman of great resilience. She had a hard life raising my brother and I in a tough environment. She left a lot behind in Korea to start over in America so that her future children could have a better life and embrace the American dream. A story that I'm sure many immigrants and their children are familiar with. This American dream, the idea that equality of opportunity is available to everyone, that the greatest of ambitions and goals are achievable to those willing to work hard for them. And my grandfather was a stoic man of great strength and few words. I think much being the result of the struggles he lived through his life in South Korea, especially after the Korean War. I have a lot of stories of how my grandfather's humility and my mother's strength shaped me. I'll share just one funny one. Long ago, a particular naive version of myself, I was struggling through a math problem as a young kid, and my grandfather peered over my shoulder to try to help me. And I ignorantly said, "Harabuji," which is grandfather in Korean. "This is American homework." And my grandfather's humble response was just a smile. My grandfather never boasted about his accolades, and my mother never complained about her hardships. Through example, they taught me about sacrifice, hardship, respect, humility, discipline, and tolerance. They instilled respect, respecting people regardless of their socioeconomic status or the color of their skin or what transgressions they've done in the past. They instilled honor, honoring our way of life, our country, our family, our elders, our cultures and traditions. They taught me to be trustworthy in everything I do and to have the courage to stand up for my values. These are things that I learned from my mother and grandfather, from my Asian American heritage, and assimilated into my American identity. I wish I could say that my feelings towards my Asian American heritage, my identity, were always strong. But to be frank, there was a period of time in my life where I did not have a clear identity. I felt stuck between two worlds, and I struggled with low confidence about who I was or where I came from. It's a story that's not unique to Asian Americans. It's a story that all people, regardless of where they came from, can identify with. There was a period of time as a child I did not feel accepted by either the Asian or American cultures. I have uncomfortable memories of shamefully trying to hide the Korean food my mom had packed me for lunch so that no one at school would see it, or being made fun of because of the shape of my eyes, or not being accepted by my Korean peers because I didn't speak Korean well enough. These are stories that I think a lot of people would identify with, regardless of where you or your parents came from. It was actually this lack of identity that fueled my desire to become a part of something bigger than myself. So after I graduated high school, I had this naive idea that I would find the answer to all of life's problems if I became a Navy SEAL. So I did. And I'll tell you, I did not find all the answers to my life, but I did find some. The military is unique in that it brings together men and women from all races, from all walks of life to fulfill a common goal, to defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. From that day, I raised my right hand and made that solemn oath. I had the honor of serving alongside some of the greatest men and women of our time. Serving my country taught me what it meant to be an American. Support freedom and democracy and fight for what you believe in. Being Asian American has helped me to celebrate diversity and appreciate the differences that make each of us unique. It's the reason I believe why America is so successful, because the diversity that is America breeds innovation, determination, and drives the American spirit. And to me, diversity highlights the human condition and that we are all equal. When we look down on Earth from space, we don't see national boundaries. We just see that we're all from the same planet. So when I think about my Asian American heritage, I think of the food, the cultures, the struggles. Most importantly, I think of the values that my mother and grandfather instilled in me. Those same values of honor, courage, commitment, respect, sacrifice, those are the same values that are celebrated in the military, the same values I learned as a Navy SEAL, and those are the same values we celebrate here at NASA. These values form the foundation and motivate me to make my contribution to this world. In the war, I lost a lot of good friends, and I made a promise to them that I would do my best to live a worthy life and to leave a positive mark in their honor. Service and support of freedom and democracy and fighting for what I believe in became my identity. And the foundation for all of this came from my heritage and from the values my grandfather and mother taught me. And this story of heritage, equality, American identity, it's not my story. It's a story that belongs to all of us. And that's what we do here at NASA. The ability of NASA to inspire and instill hope, to unite people across borders, across generations, and across political differences. To unite our nation, our world, is so important, especially at a time like this. When we return to the moon in 2024 under Artemis, we will do so in a way that reflects the world today, with government, industry, and international partners in a global effort to build humanity's future. Our nation was, is, and will always be a nation of diversity. Our strong global leadership was built by the contributions of many, shaped by the diversity of opinions, and defined by the rich heritage of our immigrants. And while this month we celebrate the rich contributions of Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders, let's not forget to celebrate the rich diversity of all groups that make us American. So if I could send a message to my 10-year-old self, or to anyone out there who identifies with this story of struggle and adversity, I want to tell them that our identity is not determined by parameters. Our hopes and dreams can't be boxed into a stereotype. Our identity is not found, it's created. And it's a beautiful blend of our immigrant and American roots. So I think it's very important for us to remember our heritage, the sacrifices of those before us, celebrate our diversity, and create our own mark in this world for the next generation. Thank you.